Hey guys, Connor here, welcome back to Star Wars Central. EA have just announced some huge changes to the microtransaction system in Battlefront II. It seems all of the community feedback has been heard loud and clear, and these changes address many of the issues players have complained about over the past couple of days. So right now, I'm going to break down the article they released, go over exactly what they had to say and what changes they're going to be making. That way you guys are as up to date as possible on Battlefront 2 and you understand what's being done to the loot crate and progression systems. So let's get started. You may have noticed recently that the Battlefront Reddit started posting evidence that crystals, Battlefront 2's premium currency, was being systematically removed from Amazon, from Origin, the PlayStation Store, pretty much everywhere. This was no mistake, instead this was just the beginning. EAStarWars then released this article here on the official Battlefront 2 website. This article covers the changes they're making to the microtransaction systems in the game. For most of the article, they're saying that they've listened to community feedback and want to make the best game possible. The actual news on the microtransaction changes comes in this paragraph here, so let's take a closer look. We hear you loud and clear, so we're turning off all in-game purchases. We will now spend more time listening, adjusting, balancing, and tuning. This means that the option to purchase crystals in the game is now offline, and all progression will be earned through gameplay. The ability to purchase crystals in-game will be available at a later date, only after we've made changes to the game. We'll share more details as we work through this. Okay, for starters, the progression system is now no longer tied to microtransactions, and all progression will be earned through gameplay. That is some really good news for keeping Battlefront 2 fair and accessible for all players. I think taking the crystals off sale is probably the best way they could handle this. The system definitely needs changes to function in a way that is not only fair, but also a way that the community can get behind. In its previous state, before the removal of crystals, not only did it favour players that paid for crystals, but it was also just confusing for new players. Hopefully over the next couple of months they will be adjusting the progression system. Even though microtransactions are now gone, the system could still do with a little bit of tweaking here and there, which they have said they are going to be taking a look at. Now there is just one more piece of news I do have to cover. They mention in the article that progression will be earned from gameplay. They also mention that crystals will be coming back after they've made changes to the game. My guess is that when crystals come back to the game, they will be for items or skins, or maybe just cosmetic content that doesn't affect the power of your abilities, or in any way affects your power in actual gameplay. Of course, we won't know anything about this until we hear more news, but we do know from the Reddit AMA last night that customization is being considered. So maybe crystals will come back as a currency to buy skins and other cosmetic items similar to Overwatch and its cosmetic-only loot boxes. Anyway, that's it for this quick update. Tell me in the comments below what you think. Do you agree with disabling the crystals and subsequently killing microtransactions for the time being, or do you think there's anything else they could do to improve the game? I think overall this is a huge step in the right direction, and it definitely solves one of the biggest complaints the community had about Battlefront 2. The thing is, Battlefront 2 is a great game. Its gameplay loop is solid and really enjoyable for long, sustained hours of gameplay. The progression is so much more than the previous game had to offer, and the sheer content available from campaign to arcade and multiplayer is exactly the type of Battlefront game we wanted as a community. This game is good, it's just the current progression system and crystal systems were not working in a way that the community as a whole could accept. I'll admit, I personally didn't mind. As long as the matchmaking worked as intended, I don't think it would have bothered me, because I wouldn't end up in games with players that had vastly superior star cards. And truth be told, I was more concerned about the free DLC. Battlefront 2015 Season Pass was great for players that had it, but we did lose the player base very quickly towards the end. This was mostly because players were separated at almost every junction, whether it be Season Pass ownership or specific DLC ownership. Having free DLC with this game was huge to me. I didn't support it at first because I didn't think it would be as good as the paid DLC from the previous game. But I did get excited after seeing the Last Jedi season news and the lineup of content we were going to be getting. Now I am not sure. Without the microtransaction revenue that was probably supporting the live service model and the free DLC seasons, I'll admit, I'm worried. I'm confident they'll find a way to provide the best experience they can with what they have. But a shakeup this big, this early in launch is a big deal. Luckily, Battlefront 2 is a great game to play, so hopefully once everything settles back down, the free DLC seasons will not be affected. Anyway, I'm dragging on here, it's very early in the morning and my throat is absolutely killing me. I'll see you next time, and may the Force be with you.